Anyone having children in the United States is out they damn mind. What's up, guys? It's Devin Harrington, the average Gen Xer. Welcome back to my channel, where today we're taking a look at some Reddit posts that explore the topic of coercion or coercive control, and specifically coercing women into getting pregnant, which is something that has gone on throughout human history. And if you live in the States, you know it's still alive and well today. Women have been lied to, and lied to by omission, taking information away from them, taking education away from them, so that they just go into getting pregnant thinking that it's all going to go fine because this is what you're supposed to do. And that's not a recipe for a healthy society. So let's check these posts out. But first, on every video on this channel, I take a moment to encourage and beg and plead with all animal lovers out there. Please consider volunteering on site or fostering for your local animal shelter. It's not as hard or as time-consuming or as expensive as you might think it is, and it's a great way to do your little part to help save the world. So I do have a new foster. She's been here for a couple of days. Her name is Ella. And she is about 3 years old. She is a smaller dog, about 15 pounds, and she came into the shelter as a stray, and she is freaked out. The worst part of it is you wish the animals could just tell you what happened to them. So Ella doesn't walk on the leash. She doesn't want to be touched. She doesn't want to be picked up. She just wants to sleep. And this is something that a lot of people don't realize, is that shelter dogs are all sleep deprived. And that's because the shelter is just a constant barrage of noise and sensory input and smells, and being able to hear and smell all kinds of other dogs, but not being able to see them. And it can wreak havoc on a lot of dogs. And so she has been literally doing nothing but sleeping in my housemate's bed. She decided that was her spot, and we're just going to let her, on her own time, come back into the world. So as soon as she lets me pick her up, I will be glad to introduce her. So please consider volunteering or fostering. Do it for the animals. Thanks. Okay, first post is by user Maleficent Ad 3958. It's from the Child Free subreddit, titled, "I'm really grossed out by how much lying and lying by omission is behind tricking people into having kids." This is, in fact, a rant. There are so many layers of outright deceit and lying by omission to try to force, usually women, into pumping out babies. My attitude is that if you have to con people into doing something, that something is vile by connection. Absolutely. Number one, there's no discussion about the real life physical damage and cost to one's body during school, besides giving birth, and it's pretty light on the details. Yeah, I remember, like, in 7th grade in Catholic school, they pulled all the girls into the AV room, audio visual room, and we had to watch a little documentary on what happens, how you get your period and all that stuff. And that was the extent of our sex ed. And then I went to Catholic all-girls high school, and I remember one class, and it was for the seniors only. And I will guarantee you, I'd bet money that by senior year, most of us were already having sex. So it was just stupid. We should have age-appropriate sexual education from at least the age of 10, 5th grade or so. You know, you can talk to kids about the human body. Let's just fucking get over it. She goes on, "I literally had to go to the internet for the first mention of so many things like going deaf, losing teeth, giant blood clots, and brain shrinkage." This is the effects on a woman's body of pregnancy or multiple pregnancies. Number two, society basically love bombs you into having babies with parties and cute things, but then, at least in the US, is totally shit about day-to-day support. Yeah. Don't have children. Anyone having children in the United States is out they damn mind. Number three, I find it so gross how many people will lie about how much help and support they'll give you and then cut and run once the kid is out. Yeah, that is a tragic, tragic thing that you hear over and over again on the regretful parent subs, is how women were told by their relatives and their friends and all of their social circle that everyone was so excited for the baby and they were going to help and they'd babysit and they'd give mom a break and blah, blah, blah. And it's true. They all say that. As soon as the baby's there, then everybody's busy, because everybody is busy. Everybody's trying to survive. And you should not be bringing kids into the world right now. 2026 ain't the time to be having children. Just my humble opinion on my humble channel. She goes on, these people can range from partners to parents to members of one's community. I'm reminded of all those churches that refuse to give one can of formula, but many of those churches are behind the creepy attempt to force women to be pregnant. Oh, yeah. You definitely must admit that the vast majority of religions were created by men, because the vast majority of popular religions these days are all about misogyny and keeping women in their place so they can't take over, I guess. And this is kind of timely. It's currently April of 2026, and the second Duggar son of the Duggar family from 19 Kids and Counting, it's just like a ridiculous religious cult family, that he's now going to be tried for CM, child SA. Disgusting. And his wife and all the women in that cult all just keep sweet, keep a smile on their face, keep their voice very, very soft voice. Oh, we just love to be pregnant. And they are told from birth that the whole purpose for being is to make more soldiers for Jesus's army. And that's like the only way you can get women to have kid after kid after kid these days, is to threaten them with hellfire and damnation from a young age. So they're indoctrinated to it and they believe it, because if you let kids get past the age of believing in Santa Claus, maybe, they start using critical thinking and they realize that your views are bullshit and no one is going to make them burn for the rest of eternity if they have sex before they're married or whatever it is. So yeah, not a fan of the church. She goes on, those same churches also scream that they should not be taxed because they are so charitable. Oh yeah, aren't they? Number 4, how people claim children are the most valuable thing, but scream the second it means a few hundred a month has to be coughed up, like guys who will begrudge shoe money, but love showing up for the social media moments like weddings and graduations. Yeah, with how easy it is for men to be deadbeat dads, not worth it. So not worth it. Get thee to Planned Parenthood. At least let yourself get old enough to have a fully functional frontal cortex so you can discern whether or not having children is right for you. And again, if you're in the States, don't do it. That's all there is. Just don't do it. Number 5, it's fairly well known among true crime readers that women have a much higher rate of being murdered if they're pregnant. It's one of the major things that make pregnant women dead. I'm not seeing that really emphasized outside of the genre. Yeah, that is very true. I did the training to be a volunteer on the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and that's one of the facts they drill into you. When you're pregnant and when you try to leave is when you are in the most danger. Number 6, those pregnancy centers run by the religious misogynists that have no real medical function and do not abide by HIPAA. Oh, God, yeah. Down here in Texas, we got plenty of those. Number 7, society prescribing kids instead of a really good therapist to fixing your damage or to fixing your financial situation. When I was younger and I was self-employed and I could not get health insurance and I made too much money, and I basically was in that no man's land where I made too much money to qualify for any kind of services, and yet I didn't make enough money to have a good life, basically, with regard to healthcare. And I had a doctor say to me, well, just have a couple of kids. That'll fix everything, because then you'll qualify. I don't know how hard I laughed in her face, but it was probably pretty hard. The lies have been exposed. The birth rate is crashing. Yay! It's really not a surprise, especially when the society's main response is to double down on the assholery. Damn straight. Big boobs energy said, as a young woman who is about to be married, I've noticed something interesting. I'm beginning to be invited and included into adult and sometimes older women's conversation circles where they discuss among one another some of those awful realities. Yeah, I mean, that has gone on as long as humans have existed. Is the older women sitting in the circle at some family event or whatever, and that's where they would talk about all of the horrors that can occur through pregnancy, labor, delivery. But it's all over for them because they're older. And so it's not really helping anybody. Well, Gen X is going to be the generation of women to change that, because Gen X women have fucking had it, okay? And we're talking about menopause. We're talking about the using modern science to help with menopausal symptoms if you have them. We're talking about all of the terrible things that can happen to you through having children. This is not the 20th century anymore. We have 8.5 billion of us. We only passed 4 billion in the mid-1970s. This is unsustainable. And there are so many people who have thrown their lives away by doing what society told them to do. Get married, have children. You'll never know true love until you have a baby. This channel is basically dedicated to offering you, please, think. Use your prefrontal cortex. Please do not have children if you are so young that you don't know who you are yet. Give yourself the chance to have life. Okay, get off the soapbox, Dev. She goes on. But they either refuse to go into detail around me or they outright ask me to leave before discussing the true horrors of pregnancy or motherhood because they don't want to scare me off of it. It's honestly sickening. Yeah, imagine that. And that's not a one-off story. That is just been going on for centuries. Older women talking about their ailments, how they can't cough anymore without peeing their pants and such, how their episiotomy scar hurts 30 years after giving birth, all kinds of awful shit. And they don't want to say it in front of women of childbirthing age because they don't want to scare them off of it. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? In this day and age of information, literally information on anything you want at your fingertips, do your fucking research. If you're going to have a baby, then at least go volunteer at a children's shelter. At least go volunteer at a neonatal ward. Go volunteer to someone to take care of their kids. Know what you're getting into. That's really just trying to educate people here. And don't come at me saying, well, you're child free. What do you know about having kids? Just like watch any video on this channel and hear me talk about being parentified all to hell and having to help raise my 3 younger brothers. Okay. Castor Field said, sounds like those people do not have your best interests at heart. I wouldn't trust a word they say about anything important. Big boobs energy. Yeah, you're right. Believe me, I don't. Maroon Wolf 24, as a woman who was recently married, what caught me off guard was the fact that people started suddenly treating me like my body wasn't mine, but a means to an end, i.e. a baby machine. Yeah, screw that. Pie Man's Berry Talk. Speaking of people not treating your body like it's yours, one of the things that really put me off from pregnancy in general, aside from the end result of having a kid, is that people like to touch women's pregnant bellies like literal strangers. It's weird, violating, and disgusting. Yeah, women out there who have been pregnant, has that ever happened to you? Because I personally would never touch a pregnant, you don't put your hands on anyone for any reason, unless you have their consent. And I've never seen anyone just go up and start touching a pregnant woman's belly. So women out there, does this actually happen? Is this a real thing? Let me know. Tawny She-Wolf That and how doctors treat it too. It's super invasive, and they often don't even ask for consent to perform invasive acts that are not needed. Well, you're just a woman. You're just, if you're a married woman, you're just a baby machine, like she said. Still in the 21st fucking century. Sixth dimension wanderer. It honestly seems to me to be a broader social trend, even without marriage. Like, let's say you've graduated high school, finished university, managed to find some job, even if the pay is meager, and then time goes on. You're doing your own thing. Some years pass. All seems chill. But other people gradually start to wonder and begin butting in, as if inevitably the next logical step is, of course, to start procreating already. And what are you still waiting for? Why don't you have anyone in your life? When are the kids happening? Like they've already set some random ass deadline for you in their heads, as though by the time you reach a certain age, it's like kids or get fucked. Like the only reasonable explanation of you is to cut to the chase and breed already. Yeah, that's such nonsense. Here we go again with more outdated 20th century notions that need to fuck off. It's none of your business. Even if it's your relative, your female relative, it's none of your business when she is or isn't going to have kids. Women, I'm just so thrilled that women, especially younger women who, I can't get pregnant anymore. I never, I'm past the age of being asked, well, when are you going to have kids? And I'm such a fucking loudmouth about how I'm child free and currently partner free by choice that, nobody ever asked me when I was going to have kids. So, that is just a habit. She said it earlier. It's just a societal habit. People have always said that because traditionally that was what you did. You got married and then you started a family of your own. But then we ended up with 8.5 billion motherfucking people on this planet. And that's not sustainable. We done already multiplied and been fruitful. Way too much, in my humble opinion. Greffy Dufois said, my mom told me off for warning my little sister about pregnancy side effects because I might scare her off. Like she can't just fucking Google it. My mom had preeclampsia with me and my sister was overdue. I was an emergency C-section to prevent us both from dying. My sister was cut out after 23 hours of Pitocin-induced labor because she couldn't fit through the birth canal. Seems like important shit to know before having kids, and apparently I'm an ass for bringing any of it up and worrying about my only sibling freaking dying. But babies. Wow. Can you imagine being in labor for an entire 23 hours and then it's all for nothing and they give you a cesarean? Oh my God. Okay, next post, also from the Child Free subreddit. This is by user Punar. Tricked into being a parent? I went to my friend's wedding last night and I always got child-free vibes from her. I mean, she's mid-30s, very career-driven, and literally never mentioned wanting kids before. The wedding was amazing. Lots of booze, music, food, completely separate kids area with bouncy castle, crafts, and dining space. So there was a clear divide between adults party and kids party. Wonderful. At the end of the night, there's a couple of us drunkenly making jokes that the bride and groom need to go and consummate their marriage. The bride states it probably won't happen because she has come off the pill a week ago because she wants a baby ASAP now that they are married. And in response, new husband may never sleep with her again because he is scared to have kids. Oh, Jesus Christ, man. The people I were with laughed like this was a normal thing to say. I mean, I guess at least she's been honest that she is currently not taking birth control, but I thought it was so odd. Isn't this something you want to have figured out before marriage? And springing it on your partner a week before the wedding? Did he only have a week to back out? Anyway, I said, oh, I never imagined you having kids. Maybe a little rude of me to say, but I was shocked and maybe letting my disappointment show a little. She says, All her friends have kids, and she's running out of time. I tell her, well, we don't have kids and we don't plan to, so you wouldn't be alone. But I guess I've already lost her. Not that I care all that much if she has kids. I just wonder if this constitutes tricking her husband into having kids. It feels wrong. Yeah, that's really shady. If they had discussed it prior to getting engaged, I mean, that's something that's a total deal breaker. So it sounds like they were going to be child free and then she changed her mind because tick, tick, tick. The clock, the biological clock is definitely a real thing. When I was in my early 40s, I swear I could like feel the clock ticking. Like my body was like, come on, chop, chop, time is money. We got to get this done. This is our last hurrah of fertility. But just because you feel a biological process going on doesn't mean you have to act on it. Joan the Unicorn, her flair says, teacher equals enough kids in my life. My coworker recently got married and his wife wants to crank out babies already. They dated for like a year or so before getting engaged. I guess for some it works. But for me, that is breakneck speed. He doesn't want babies right away, but they're going to anyway. Oh, Jesus. These people are going to be on the Regretful Parents sub next year. I wonder about marriages like that. And he does want kids. I can't imagine how the guy you talked about must feel. Yeah. Plus, was he there during the conversation or was everyone talking about his sex life while he was away? That's messed up as well. Yep. The OP said he was there at the start of the conversation, but come to think of it, he wasn't around when it came to the comment the bride made about him likely never sleeping with her again because she wants babies as soon as possible. I think he may have walked off as soon as the consummate the marriage jokes started. It's Flycatcher. She might be right about him not wanting to sleep with her again after learning about that. I know I would never sleep with anyone who I know wants to go explicitly against something that I presume we agreed on. At most, they would get a what the fuck is wrong with you and a swift annulment. Yeah. I mean, I really hope that this guy, if he does not want children, just goes and gets a vasectomy and then she can divorce him if she wants. Ocelotted too. I'm so curious about whether or not this was discussed or agreed and his point of view. I mean, I guess people are entitled to change their minds, but geez, it's a bit late. My brother is actually in the same situation, but with a different lead up. He always wanted kids, and now, a year after marriage, he is staunchly child free. They even discussed and agreed that they wanted kids and decided on a loose timeline, but neither of them see this as a deal breaker. You have to wonder what goes through people's minds. There is no compromising on a lifelong commitment. Yeah. Kids are just about the only thing in life that you cannot undo. And finally, this post is from the marriage subreddit. It's by user Sad Sad Salads, please. And I am going to give a trigger warning. This is a really hard story to listen to. And it's a vent titled, I feel like I'm forced into having 5 million kids. I feel like I'm going to be forced to have 5 million kids and I'm miserable. I never want to be pregnant again, but my husband is hard against me getting my tubes tied. Well, they're not his tubes, ma'am. My husband wasn't religious, at least to this extent, when we first got together, so it wasn't like I knew this would be my life for pretext. Over the years, especially since his mother died and he and his father have become oddly religious. One day, I was watching that Bringing Up Bates show with 19 people with 19 kids because nothing else was on, and now he thinks it's God's will how many children we have and is even against birth control. Ma'am, take your kids and go, please. I got approved to get my tubes tied, but now I have to tell my doctor, never mind. No, you do not. You do not. Because outside of this issue, we have an amazing relationship and I don't want to let my husband go. Ma'am, if you think this is an amazing relationship, no. Jesus. I'm 26 and will be having my 4th child in 3 weeks. Good Lord. I get cholestasis of pregnancy every time I'm pregnant and deal with terrible itching, like your blood itches and nothing will help it. My back hurts. My hips feel like they're going to break. I'm miserable. My children are my whole world. Yeah, because your husband doesn't allow you to do anything else. Ma'am, please run. But I'm constantly overwhelmed. Yeah, because you're 26 and you have 4 fucking kids. That's not natural in this modern world. I can't work because who's going to watch 4 kids? I wish I could have a job. I miss working and interacting with people besides my children, husband, and occasionally my mom and brother. My kids are 5, 3, 14 months, and in 3 weeks I'll have another newborn. Ugh. My husband now would have 19 kids himself if God permitted it. He does everything his dad says, and it's exhausting. I wish his dad didn't become religious. I want my tubes tied so bad, and I know it's ultimately my choice. Well, at least you know that. But I don't want to deal with the resentment. Okay, you don't have a good relationship, ma'am. Get the fuck out of there. So today I brought up getting an IUD. My husband said, if you want to, that's your choice. And then added, but have fun with your abortions. Under his logic, a period would be an abortion. I just can't. I'm so miserable. I fucking can't either, ma'am. This is a horrible situation. This is not a good relationship. The fact that you think this is acceptable to raise children with this man? No, 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 no. I feel like I can't be a good mom and I'm always yelling because my kids don't listen to me. I'm constantly touched out and overstimulated. I just want to be a better mother, but how can I when I'm constantly sleep deprived and taking care of a newborn? My body hurts so bad I can't sleep at night. I couldn't imagine going through this as many times as God allows. These religious men, they all need to go and live on an island somewhere, like we need to find a new penal colony like Australia used to be. Just pick a big island and send all the uber religious men to live there. And then we won't have to listen to their fucking whining anymore. She goes on, I'm very fertile and would be pregnant every single year. Yeah. I know I'll just get told to leave my husband, but that's not an option for me. I just need to vent because I feel so alone right now. Good God. Well, as you can imagine, Redditors had a lot of things to say about this situation, including overall disaster said, your husband is abusive and is reproductively coercing you. Is it possible for you to get your tubes tied right after giving birth, maybe without him knowing? Yeah, you should. You definitely should get it done without him knowing. I would say having to deal with his resentment would be better for you than to be pregnant all the time when you don't want to be. It's also better for your kids that are already here. They don't deserve this. Yeah, they deserve their mother's attention. 4 is way too many. You're one person. And it sounds like this guy doesn't help at all. He's just a sperm donor. So I really hope she went and got her tubes tied. Deleted account said a couple of questions. 1, why does your husband get to dictate with what you do with your body? Yeah, fucking A. Is this the 1950s? Number 2, why do you need to get approval to do this? Nib 500. So in the woman world to everything, we have to have a man's approval. So in the... Good Lord, please learn to write, Americans. So in the woman's world, everything we have to have a man's approval. If you never get married, it's almost impossible to get your tubes tied. I'm 21 and I never want kids. Yeah. Well, there are, if you go to the child-free sub, I think there's a pinned list of doctors who won't give you a hard time, who actually believe that women know their own minds. The horror whore, love it. I'm so thankful that my doctor spoke to me when I told him I wanted my tubes tied after my second child. Not once did he ask my husband's, then he was still just my boyfriend, my husband's opinion or even glance in his direction. Absolutely. Deleted account. My unmarried childless sister is 29 and just got approved by a doctor and insurance to get her tubes tied in Texas. Sorry to shout. I was just excited for her. I hope that you're able to find someone to do it if and when you're ready. And then there are a couple of edits on the original post. The OP said, edit 1, I think I'm going to get on birth control, and I will be having a serious talk with him about my mental needs and concerns. I just can't do this. Maybe one more kid years down the road, but I do not want my entire life to be motherhood. And at this point, I downright refuse. I agree with him that a tubal is a huge decision, and I honestly probably would regret it, as I could see myself wanting one more when my current children are older. Just a glutton for punishment, huh? And I have a clear head, but I can't and won't have more for the foreseeable future. I think I'll also be having a talk with him about his selfishness and how he sees how badly I itch all day from my liver condition and how much my body hurts from this pregnancy, and get it through his thick skull that maybe I'm hurting so bad because my body has gone through 4 pregnancies in 5 years. Fuck this in every possible way. And this used to be freaking just another Tuesday in a woman's life. I've talked about my mom's grandmother. My grandfather was the youngest of 15. And my mom and I were talking about this subject one day. And I said, do you think, this is like back in the turn of the 20th century. Did great grandma, they were Catholic. They were French Catholic. Did she want 15 children? And my mother was like, fuck no. No sane woman wants to go through that 15 times. And then how do you even give each of those children your attention and love, which is what helps them to grow up to become good members of society? She goes on, my oldest just turned 5 in May. If my husband doesn't listen, I will be taking my youngest to stay at my mom's for the weekend and leave him to deal with the older 2 to get a taste of what I go through on a daily basis. Edit number 2. I'm going to sit him down tonight and tell him he can either give me love and compassion and deal with the fact that I will be getting on birth control after this child, or I will be going to my mom's and contacting a lawyer. There you go, ma'am. But I wouldn't hold your breath. If he hasn't given you love and compassion, you've been married 5 years. What are you waiting on? People don't change like that. You married a cold, controlling narcissist. I'm done with the manipulation that I have been blind to, and he's either going to have to give me the respect and consideration I deserve, or he can get used to the idea of seeing his kids every other weekend. Good on you, ma'am. Ooh, that was a tough one. Well, that's what I have for you today, guys. So I am dying to hear your thoughts in the comments. Let me know. Do you have kids, and do you ever feel like you were coerced into getting pregnant by society or anyone, family, whatever? Do you know someone who's in a situation like this? Do you come from a family that just expects you to produce children? Like that's your purpose for being? Just tell me what your thoughts are. I would love to hear it. So if you like this video, please like it, please hype it, please do all those YouTubey things, subscribe to the channel. I thank you so much for stopping by to hear me talk shit on the internet. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much.